Hey guys, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So this particular video is a part of series in which I'm going to take one shot videos. In this particular series I have thought of taking those topics which are not that big. They are small topics. They just require some brief knowledge, some brief information about them, and that is well and enough for your preparation, right? So that's what is the motive of these series, and I hope this will be helpful for you in your preparation. Okay, and these series are going to be a very important one, especially for your revision purpose. Okay, so if you are revising a particular concept, these videos or the videos of this series are going to be very important for you in that case. So let's talk about polymer chemistry in this video. Okay, so I'll be talking about all the important formula and all the important information which you need to know from the polymer chemistry. You can assume this particular video as a short notes for your polymer chemistry. Okay, so you can make your short notes also out of this particular video. All right, so before starting it, let me tell you that I'm also teaching on Unacademy Plus, and more about Unacademy Plus at the later part of this video. All right, now without wasting any time, let's continue with our video. Alright, so it starts with the types of polymer. So there are two types of polymer based upon that how they are made. Okay, so they are synthetic polymers and natural polymers. As the name suggests, synthetic polymers will be man-made or they will be made in laboratory, whereas natural polymers will be made by the nature. Alright, they will be found in the nature. So synthetic polymers are of two types, like they are made up of two types, like addition polymer and condensation polymer. In the addition polymer, they generally follow free radical mechanism, whereas condensation polymers are those polymer which are formed by removal of some small molecules, generally molecules of carbon dioxide, water or ammonia. These are eliminated while the formation of these condensation polymers. Okay, so let's say two monomeric unit, when they combine, they will evaporate water molecule or they will remove water molecule or carbon dioxide molecule. That type of polymerization is called as your condensation polymerization. Alright, the next thing is your natural polymers. So proteins, polysaccharides, all these are example of your natural polymers. Polymers, I hope every one of you know what it is. Okay, polymer is when a monomeric unit, when there is a monomer which keeps on repeating itself to form a chain kind of thing, that is what we call it as a polymer. Alright, now the next step of polymers are based upon that how the monomeric units are arranged in it. There are three types of them: homopolymers, copolymers and block polymers. In homopolymers, there is just one monomeric unit, just one unit which keeps on repeating itself. That's what is your homopolymer. Copolymer are the one where there will be two or more than two like monomeric unit, and they will be repeating itself. All right, but here the repetition will be random. Okay, there will be random repetition, so that you have to take care of. So random repetition will make it as a copolymer, whereas block polymer will also have the same property as the copolymer, but here repetition is going to be in the alternate manner. You can see this AA will come again and again. Okay, so the repetition is done in the alternate manner. It's not a random. Okay, so block polymer is not a random. Okay, not a random repetition is there. So this is the difference between copolymer and block polymer. Okay, on the basis of DL configuration also we have three types of polymers: isotactic, atactic and syndiotactic. In the isotactic, all the carbons or all the all the carbons of the monomeric unit will have same configuration. They will be either all of them will be D or all of them will be L. For example, if I just give you a monomer, so here if I just talk about this particular polymer, so yeah, if you just look at all of these carbons, so at all of them, if you find out the configuration, that is going to be same. Atactic means where the random sequence of different configuration is going to be. So that means I'll be having some D form and some L form. Okay, so it's not fixed, it's a random one. So just like you have homopolymer and copolymer, in the same way, on the basis of your configuration, you have isotactic and atactic. Now syndiotactic is like your block polymers. Here there is a alternate sequence of the configuration. So configuration will be in a sequence manner. So if I have to make it like this, so if it is one is D, the other one is L, if the other one is D, other one is L. Okay, remember whatever I am showing you over here, the above the plane and below the plane configuration, it just made to inform you that what it is. I am not making exactly the configuration over here. Alright, let's talk about the next thing. The next important thing is your degree of polymerization. Now, degree of polymerization tells you that how many number of monomeric unit are there in a particular polymer. Okay, so in a formation of a particular polymer, how many monomeric units are actually involved, and this can be simply calculated by P is equals to capital M upon small m, where capital M is the molar mass of the polymer, small m is your mass of the monomeric unit. So if you divide the complete mass by the mass of the monomeric unit, you are going to get that how many monomers were there in that. All right. The next thing we have is average molar masses. So there are different types of ways in which we calculate the average molar mass of the polymer. Some of them I have given here. Basically, these are the only ones which are asked in exam. So number average molecular mass. Okay, so this is called as number average molar mass. Okay, and this is denoted by Mn. Okay, so M bar n. That bar denotes that it's the average mass. Okay, and here small n denotes that it is number average molar mass. So M bar n is equals to sigma Ni Mi divided by sigma Ni, where Ni is going to denote the number of the monomeric unit and Mi is going to denote you the molecular mass of the monomeric unit. Alright, so you just have to multiply it and you just have to divide by the number of the monomeric unit. Questions are asked on this like this. Okay, so they will give you, let's say they are going to give you that there are 10,000 or 1,000 monomeric unit having molecular mass of, let's say, 1200 grams or something. Okay, so this is the mass they will give and this is the number which they will give, and there is one more monomer of, let's say, 2000 units of that of mass, let's say 800 grams. They are mixed to make a particular polymer, so they will ask you what is the number average molecular mass. So what you have to do, how to solve this? In the same formula you have to just put it like this. Okay, so it will go like this. So Ni, so you have to multiply it. Okay, so 1000 multiplied by 1200 plus then 2000 multiplied by, so 2000 multiplied by 800 divided by, you will have the number of that. Okay, sum of the number of the monomeric unit. So in the division or in the denominator, you are going to put the values like 1000 and plus 2000. Just solve this and that's what is going to give you the answer of this. Okay, so just add, multiply and add the numerator and add the denominator, divide it, that is going to give you the number average molecular mass. Okay, so this type of questions are very simple and very commonly asked. Okay, very frequently asked in exam. The next thing is your weight average molecular mass. Everything is same here also. This W denotes the weight average molecular mass and the formula is sigma Ni Mi square divided by sigma Ni Mi. Now you can see over here that here you have to square the mass in the numerator, and in the denominator you have included one more mass. So that means if in the number average molecular mass, if I multiply like if I multiply with Mi and here also, so that is going to give me the weight average molecular mass. But it's not like that you can cancel out these things because these are in the sum form. Okay, so those who know mathematics, they will understand this, that you cannot cancel out these M and M. Many people try to do that. Okay, so don't get trapped in that thing. That is not going to happen. Okay, because these are in summation form. So you have to square and add. You cannot divide simply over here. Okay. There is a note which you have to make it over here, that the bulk properties like your viscosity and the thickness related, like all these properties are actually related to your weight average molecular mass. So if in the question it is asked that a particular molecule is having viscosity, so which of the following molecular mass you have to calculate? So the answer will be weight average molecular mass. Weight average molecular mass is going to be calculated for every property or for every bulk related property. Okay. The next type of molecular mass is your Z average molecular mass. Here this Z denotes that it is Z average molecular mass. So Mz is, again you have sigma Ni Mi cube divided by sigma Ni Mi square. So these formula are very important. Okay, you have to make note of these formula. These are very frequently asked in exam. So keep making the notes of these particular formula. Next particular thing which we will study is heterogeneity of the sample. So is the sample homogeneous or the sample is heterogeneous? Homogeneous and heterogeneous means the polymer is made up of same type of monomeric unit or different type of monomeric unit. That's what heterogeneity basically tells you. Heterogeneity means difference or different type of monomeric unit. So that is calculated by PDI. PDI is polydispersity index. Okay, So this is polydispersity index. So this index calculates or it finds out the heterogeneity of the sample. It is given by mw divided by mn. So weight average molecular mass divided by number average molecular mass. So you just have to divide both of them, and that is going to give you the polydispersity index, and that's how you can calculate your heterogeneity of the sample. Heterogeneous sample will have this order where your Z average molecular mass will have highest value, weight average molecular mass will have lower value, and number average molecular mass will have lowest value. So this trend will be followed if you have a heterogeneous sample. Okay, so heterogeneous polymer are going to follow this trend, whereas homogeneous sample or homogeneous polymer will have all the three values equivalent. So Z average molecular mass, weight average molecular mass, and number average molecular mass, everything is equivalent in the case of homogeneous polymers. All right. Now polydispersity index, the PDI value which I told you, this can be greater than 1 or it can be equal to 1. If it is greater than 1, we call it as polydisperse system, means the dispersion is not going to happen in a single layer, it is going to be it's going to be in the form of polymeric layer. That's what is polydisperse. And same if it is equal to 1, we call it as a monodisperse phase. So there are two phases, polydispersed phase, dispersion you know, right, dispersion in the fluid. So if the dispersion is happening in the monolayer form, so that is monodispersed phase, and if it is happening in the polymeric form, so that we call it as a polydispersed phase. Okay, so if the value of PDI is greater than 1, that's what is polydisperse, and if it is equal to 1, that is your monodisperse. Okay, now there are different methods with the help of which we find out a particular molecular mass. Okay, like osmometry is the method to calculate the number average molecular mass. Okay, and you can if you want to attach this thing with a logic, you can attach it like this, that during osmosis it depends upon the number of particles, that how many particles have passed through the semi permeable membrane. So number of particle plays an important role. So that's why osmometry is going to tell you the number average molecular mass, and osmometry has a particular formula. The osmotic pressure is calculated by this formula, pi upon C is equals to RT upon Mn plus Bc. Okay, where C is the concentration, R is your gas constant, B is a constant, T is the temperature, Mn is your number average molecular mass, pi is your osmotic pressure. Okay, vapor pressure of is also calculated using the same formula, like using the using your number average molecular mass. So number average molecular mass is only responsible for both osmometry also and for your vapor pressure osmometry. Okay, light scattering experiment or light scattering is a method by which you calculate the weight average molecular mass. So weight average molecular mass can be calculated through light scattering. Now it also can be resembled with a logic that weight of a particular system depends, or it is going to decide that how much light is going to get scattered. Like smaller particles, scattering happens at a particular range of the particle, right? So size is going to decide the scattering property. So size is dependent upon weight, so that's how it goes. So weight average molecular mass is going to give you, light scattering experiment is going to give you weight average molecular mass. Next, sedimentation is the method to find out Z average molecular mass. Okay, so Z average molecular mass can be calculated through your sedimentation. Now X-ray is a property, or X-ray is a method by which you can find out all the three of them: number average molecular mass, weight average molecular mass, or Z average molecular mass. Okay, so just make a note of it. Sometimes a question were earlier questions were asked from it before 2016, they can be repeated also. Okay, next is your viscosity method, and viscosity method is going to give you it is going to give you a viscosity average molecular mass. Okay, that is MV. Now there are different types of viscosity. You have relative viscosity. Relative viscosity is the ratio of your viscosity of the solution divided by viscosity of the solvent. Okay, specific viscosity can be calculated by just viscosity of the solution divided by viscosity of the solvent minus 1. If you subtract 1, that is going to give you the specific viscosity of the compound or of the polymer. The next thing is called as your reduced viscosity. Reduced viscosity is like when you divide specific viscosity with the concentration, you get the reduced viscosity. You can see eta upon eta naught minus 1 divided by C is going to give you reduced viscosity. One more property is there, that is called as intrinsic viscosity. Intrinsic viscosity is basically when you apply limit on the reduced viscosity, that is going to give you intrinsic viscosity. So limit C turns to 0, that means then the concentration is very small, it's going up to 0. In that case, whatever viscosity you get, that is going to be called as intrinsic viscosity. Intrinsic viscosity is calculated using a specific equation called as Mark-Hoyink equation, and that equation is like eta. This eta in this bracket is actually denoting you the intrinsic viscosity. Okay, so that is the intrinsic viscosity, which is expressed like that, is equals to k. K is a constant, and mv is the viscosity average molecular mass to the power a, where a is a constant which can have a value from 0.5 to 1, and it depends upon different polymer. Okay, so this is a very important equation, Mark-Hoyink equation. You should know this, and you should be aware about that, how it is used, for what it is used. This is used to calculate intrinsic viscosity of the system. All right. Okay, now there are certain things which you need to remember, some general formula which you need to remember. Just make a note of them. First is your contour length. Contour length is nothing but maximum end-to-end distance of a polymeric chain. So from one end to the other end of the chain, of the polymeric chain, what is the length of that? That's what your contour length tells you, and it has a formula of n into L or NL. Okay, n is the number of monomeric unit and L is the length of the monomeric unit. CSIR net has asked very frequently question on the contour length. Next thing is your root mean square length. Root mean square length is calculated by under root n into L, where under root n is basically the same thing, number of monomeric unit, L is your length of monomeric unit. Next thing is your most probable end-to-end length. Okay, so most probable end-to-end length is given by under root 2 upon 3 under root n into L. Okay, or you can also write it down like under root 2n upon 3 into L. Okay, so that is also a way of writing it. So these are all in multiplication. Okay, so make sure of it. Next is average end-to-end length, and that is given by under root 8 upon 3 pi under root n into L. Now see, all this formula you can relate it with the kinetic theory of gases. Over there also you have root mean square velocity, you have most probable velocity, you have average velocity. In the same way here also we have, although the formula are not that much similar, but yeah, you can understand that how we are doing all these things. The next thing is your kinetic chain length. Kinetic chain length is basically going to tell you that the rate of monomeric depletion divided by the rate of radical formation. This kinetic chain length is going to tell you for those polymer which follow the free radical mechanism, as I told you in the starting, the addition polymerization, right? So those polymerization which follow, which have this addition steps, or which follow the addition mechanism, in this type of polymer, the rate of monomeric depletion and is when it is divided by the rate of radical formation, that is going to give you the kinetic chain length, that how much bigger length is going to be found for the polymer. That's what this kinetic chain length tells you. Okay, at the end just few more formula, like your radius of gyration. Radius of gyration is given by 1 upon under root 6 into RMS length. Okay, RMS length I have just given you. RMS is root mean square length. Average end-to-end distance in the unit segment when the length of the monomeric unit is 1. In that case, average end-to-end distance of the system is under root n. Variance in the mass. Okay, so like what is the variance in the mass of the system? That is given by this. So it is denoted as sigma square, and that is equals to number average square of the number average molecular mass multiplied by the ratio of weight average molecular mass to the number average molecular mass minus 1. And if you just take the under root of whole this thing, that is going to give you the standard deviation in the mass. Okay, so standard deviation by statistics. Okay, if you have studied statistics, so standard deviation is nothing but under root of variance. Standard deviation basically tells you that how much you are varying from the mean value. Okay, that's what it tells you. So variance formula, if you know, you just take under root of that, and that is going to give you the standard deviation of the mass. Okay, standard deviation in the mass. So these are some very important things, or you can say some kind of your revision kind of thing for the polymer. These are the things from where till now questions has been asked. 1 or 2 questions we will find in the previous year exam which have been asked from some very different thing. Apart from that, most of the questions you will be able to do with the help of these like whatever equations or whatever things I have told you in the in this particular video. All right, so I'll just keep it up till here. That's all for this video. I hope you guys like it. If you want me to improve something in this series, do let me know in the comment section below. If you want to suggest some topic to me for the further videos, do let me know that also in the comment section below. So all your suggestions everything is welcome in the comment section, so do mention that. And that's all from my side, guys. Before ending the video, let me tell you about my classes which are running on Unacademy Plus. So I am teaching live on Unacademy platform. So in case if you are preparing for CSIR NET or GATE or any of the competitive exam, you can join Unacademy Plus for your preparation, and there you can get all the classes live, and also you will get doubt clearing session. Apart from that, you will also get mock tests and all. You can join Unacademy Plus for all these benefits. Also, there are classes which are available for free. So in case if you want to join any one of them, visit my profile. The link is there in the description of this video. You can join over there, and you can watch my free classes also, or if you want to attend the paid live classes, you can do so that also. Okay, so do make sure that when you are joining Unacademy Plus, or whenever you are unlocking any of the free class also, if it is prompted to put any of the referral code, try to put my referral code, that is n_Huda. All right, so that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.